Claudia Stolze. I'm a wig maker, and this is the wig that Paul Huntley made for Glenn Close when she played Cruella de Vil. I'm making a few pieces of weft to increase the length of the wig, to have a bit more scope of dressing it. I'm just completely bowled over how much work has gone into this production in the first place. I'm very honoured to be working on Glenn Close's wig. Well, it's so nice to see it on you after having worked on you for so long.
But it seems like so long ago already.
Let me bring my stickers. Like the makeup tests we do in advance, the wig fittings, but the look itself, which is the most important thing, is always like 24 hours before the show, and I'm just trying to like soften the fact that I'm a 6-foot man. Well, we're trying to soften all of these edges, so the more tights we put, the more it softens and softens and softens. Oh my god, I'm sweating. Is there an order, I guess?
Yes.
This, and then the dress?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then the goat.
I might get Betsy. Betsy!
Oh my god.
Is Glenn coming?
When did you decide to do this? Like, where did the idea come from?
3 months ago now, I think. I mean, Cruella's always been the end goal, just for obvious reasons. There were so many references. All we knew is that it had to be Dalmatian. It just feels like this is the right time.
Just putting a pin for now, but we will add an extra.
So cool.
Oh, amazing.
So wild. I'm feeling good. When I do these bulks of work, you are in a bubble for so long. My life has been Cruella for the last 3 months, but tomorrow it's like the first time anyone is aware of it, which is such a surreal feeling. Because I'm like not nervous, because we've done it so many times now, so now I just have to transform myself into Cruella. So I will see you tomorrow, bright and early at 5 in the morning, to become Cruella de Vil. Morning, Vogue. Let the madness begin. So it's 5 AM and we are now ready to start applying the first prosthetic. I work with a studio in England, which is actually the largest studio in Europe. I work with a guy called Neil Gordon who owns Millennium. So Neil cracked on with the sculpting phase, which takes a couple of weeks, and then we adjust it accordingly where we feel areas need to be reduced or enhanced. Then once the sculpt is done, it goes to mold making. From there, it goes to a silicone runner who colors the silicone, gets the prosthetics ready, and then they arrive with me, where I go on with the makeup test. And then we have these pieces, which are almost the final pieces, which can only be used once, which is always so sad. But it's no different to film. They produce anywhere up to 10 to 20 sets, and then after each day on set you've finished filming, they go straight in the bin. I think it's difficult because not only are we transforming myself from a man into a woman, but then we're transforming me into some of the most iconic women on planet Earth. If I was a 15-year-old girl, it would probably be a lot easier, but I'm a giant man. People always say to me, like, why do you do slightly older women? And it's so much easier because they have these details like folds or wrinkles. The more characteristics someone has, the better, for a makeup transformation at least. Every single detail, from who makes the teeth, the hair work, all these unreleased video footage, everything, I try and approach it to get it as close to the original as possible. And I think that's the difficult thing with doing pop culture moments, is you have to take who's relevant and almost predict the future, because the production of these takes at least 2 or 3 months, and in that time we've had transformations that we've not released because they've either been cancelled or they've died. So it's such a risk going into it. I spent 10,000–15,000 on just wigs. The prosthetic production is a team of 10 different artists who all have to get paid. So yeah, it's not a cheap process, but it's one of the most visually stimulating ones at the end, because again, we're so used to only seeing this process in films. So the fact that we're doing it in a live setting is kind of that blurring of reality and fantasy, which is why so many of us love film, because it distracts us from reality. So when we're seeing that crossover, I think that's why it's so magical to so many people. This is the therapeutic part for me. I think because there's so many people involved in just getting it to this stage, now I get to bring the whole thing to life. I like to sort of pull all of the elements together, get the right artists to work on it, so then when it comes to me doing the finishing touches and creating that overall character, I'm finessing it all, I guess. Once you have like a basic understanding of the color theory, everything's done in light washes and layers. I always punch things up a little heavier when I'm doing these shows, just because the flash photography cuts through so much of it and no one really sees it up close, so you have to go a little heavier handed than you normally would. The line is super graphic. It's actually very similar to Marilyn Monroe, with the almost shadow effect of the top lashes on the bottom. We've just punched it up so it reads better from afar. The main characteristics of Cruella. And I don't know how to describe it, but it's a very doughy-like lip. The red lip paired with the strong liner, I think is just a really iconic duo. It's a really not enjoyable experience, I will say, and it only normally looks good for about an hour or two before it starts to look like Freddy Krueger. So it is like time is working against you. Makeup done. Next step, get dressed, and then finish it with my crown. As a young gay kid, Cruella is like this ultimate villain, dressed in the most complicated, complex, beautiful costumes, was obviously visually stimulating. Being a fan of Glenn Close and everything she's done over the years, just a perfect pairing. Being able to obtain some of the original movie props from over the years, from the original sketch to the robotic dogs. I bought it. It came up for auction a few years ago. Iconic. Now is like the frantic bit where I can't really focus. But as soon as I get out of the car, it's like, okay, let's go break the internet. We are on our way, finally, to the show with minutes to spare before the world is subjected to seeing me as Cruella de Vil. And I'm kind of ready for it now. We are done with the Balenciaga show, which was iconic as always. Thank you so much for having me, Vogue. Woof.